Brian.
Hey Raven, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I like your guitar over there. Looks like you had a
Thank
whole music set up.
you. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
excited about trying to teach myself how to play different things.
Oh
We'll
yeah.
see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say I'll give you some. If you started up with Smoke on the Water, or what are you doing on your guitar? You got Iron Man, the classic, basic guitar
Ah,
stuff down. No.
okay. I'm trying to learn how to play the Batman original theme song.
Ah, that one I don't know. We can figure it out. All right, for another video, we'll do some guitar
Yes,
how to, and next time.
exactly. All right. So let's talk about how to research yourself. Again, I
Yeah.
know we spoke up a little bit about that from an introspective standpoint on just like getting to know yourself and what your idea for your business should be. But I think, this time let's dive into, once you have that business idea, how you can go deeper into that research to execute.
This part of it, once you've got your business up, if you're the type of person that likes more homework, prompts, structure, this is the part that's got a lot of structure. It's less freewheeling than figuring out what you want to do when you're sitting alone at home. so
Right.
so when you have to figure out personality and yourself as a team, even if it's a team of one, I always like to break it in half, where you're looking at kind of the squishy side of things, the personality and tone of voice, and some of these abstract ideas, emotional ideas. And then another half is where we look at use a form to look at the nuts and bolts of nailing on what exactly you as a team really do. I'm going to flip over and share just some examples of this in practice. So I'll share some
Do it.
actual kits and examples. So when the emotional side of things, I always like to use this thing called an attributes grid, where we look at just kind of a stream of consciousness, free-flowing conversation, where we answer these questions in each box here. So for example, with you, whether it's a team of yourself or a group, what's your culture? So if this is an example from a real client of Owl Streets, this is a church we're working with. And so here, the culture is, how would your congregation describe itself? So swap out the word congregation for your team, your workflow, your factory, whatever the best word is to describe your business. Swap that out, and basically, how do you describe yourself? So the way they describe themselves were some of these words. And we can do a little bit of this live in the moment if you're up for that. So like,
Yes, let's
Raven,
do it.
like Nevermore, how would you describe yourself? How would you describe Nevermore?
Right. Helpful,
Okay.
educational, inspiring,
Okay.
and empathetic.
There you go. And I like, yeah, see, it's not, once you get the train rolling, there's no right or wrong answers. It's just
Right.
wherever your mind wants to go, word association, stream of conscious, just let it go. And it doesn't matter how many words you come up with. Well, we just write them all down. And then once we're all laid out, then we can go back and trim and pull out words that are redundant or ideas that just repeat themselves. So it's kind of that easy. And then we just go down this checklist. So we ask, how does a team describe itself? Then next question I like to ask is, how would a customer describe you? Or how would your clients describe you? Kind of like the dating question, how would your best friend describe you? That kind of question. So put you on the spot. How would your clients describe you and Nevermore?
Bold,
Okay.
creative,
Okay.
and informed.
Okay. I like it. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll just go through each box here.
Yeah.
For the other one, this one is a little different, but how would you describe how your speech, the actual syntax, the words you use, how does that feel to other people? So again, kind of like, how would your best friend describe you? But this is, how would they describe how you sound?
New York.
Okay. Isn't that with a like thick accent, or am I?
Just everything about it. Very loud.
Okay.
Very straightforward.
Okay.
And very Strong.
Okay.
Strong.
And it's okay to use like positive words, strong's a good word
Strong
instead
is
of
good.
being,
Strong is
not
good.
rude or abrasive or like,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I took a trip out to New York a few weeks ago and man, I almost got in trouble out there because those drivers, man, I about boxed them one, but that's a different story. So I don't think you're bold like that. Anyway.
Maybe.
Other boxes here for just figuring out how your personality is instead of how you sound. How do you make people feel? So for this church, how they make people feel as welcome, calm, supported. And to be fair, these answers, I know they're a little idealistic. So this is not scientific research. So, how you think you make people feel and how you actually make people feel might be miles apart, but this is a starting point. So it's more about kind of laying out your stream of conscious, less than trying to have a scientific, peer-reviewed research. So how do you make people feel, Raven?
I hope that I would make people feel warm and invited and heard,
Okay.
understood.
Okay.
And I hope that they would leave feeling empowered and that they learned something.
Okay. Yeah. See, there's again no right or wrong answers, because even if you say it is miles apart of how you want to make people feel and I actually make people feel, I found that just by writing it out, it almost you rise to the occasion. So what it's almost like a commitment device that once you write it down, now you feel an internal pressure that even though you made a commitment to yourself, you just wrote it on a piece of paper, something that kicks in your brain that, oh, I better make people feel empowered now. Right. So it winds up being like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a good way.
Yes.
The next box I have here is value. What benefits do you provide to others? And this could go anywhere.
Yeah.
So again, this is a church example. So some of the things they listed is that they provide prayer, support, nurturing, direction, a place someone can put their energy. What's some things that you provide? What's the benefit that Nevermore gives to people?
Peace of mind.
Okay.
Time saving.
Okay.
A digital footprint. Some people don't even have that to start with. Education. Okay. Information, stuff like that, I think.
And I can see that, I mean, especially with social media, I could see how you're doing all those things, but maybe you could also give them self-expression, self-validation, that all of a sudden maybe people are scared to put their face online or to do a video or feel weird when they hear the sound of their own voice or see the picture of themselves, even on an Instagram reel. But with your support, like when you're doing how you make people feel, if they feel empowered, now all of a sudden they have the self-expression to put things out there on Instagram that maybe they didn't feel confident to do that before. So this could go from the tangible, like you said, digital footprint to the emotional or the abstract. It can go anywhere. And then the last box here, this is the X factor. What's the wow? What sets you apart from everyone else? What's the thing that this is what Raven can do that no one else can do? Or
I would say that I operate within everyone's unique and existing framework. I don't try to change people. Okay. I won't try to make you fit into this cookie cutter box. There's no one size fits all approach to how you should present yourself online. I think everyone should be authentically them, and my job is to pull it out.
So again, even though we're asking very different questions, I don't know if you heard it, but I'm hearing a theme already, is that you're empowering people and self-expression. Right. That's the thing you just said with this X factor, that you help pull it out of people. That's, to me, it sounds like another way to say empower. So I found by asking these questions kind of from every which angle, there is some repetition, but it's less about answering these specific boxes to figure out your personality. And it's more about finding the through lines, the theme that like, oh, I never thought about empowering, but sure enough, it's in that box, in that box, in that box. Well, there we go. Now we got something. The next step, once you fill in all these boxes in the grid, is to lay out what are the through lines. So we're already saying how empowering or self-expression. For this church example, there's teaching, that people are invited in, that there's a work ethic and earnesty, right? That's the through line. Now, sometimes the word, they might, for example, use the word earnest when they're answering all these questions, but maybe they said earnest in one box, but diligent in another box, and loyal in a different box. Even though those words are a little different, the theme is, there's one theme there. So you can parse it down. I chose the word earnest. So it doesn't have to be so literal to figure out that through line. And then once you have all these words, we've got maybe, I don't know, 50, 100 words here. If we add up all the words in each box, we slice that down into from 50, then maybe down to 25, and then down to maybe 5, then maybe down to 3. And when it comes to branding side and the marketing side, we use this researching yourself in this emotional part, not just for fun or to have a little therapy session, at work, but it's really to nail down the tone of voice. So when it comes to your brand, you have to have a consistent tone of voice that when you're writing on Instagram, or even like right now we're talking, the Owl Street Studio tone of voice needs to match how I'm speaking, but then also match when people read a blog post or see Instagram or a brochure or business card. So you have to have this more through line. So for the church here, their tone of voice is warm, easygoing, literal, even keeled. These people they're not in your face. They're not bouncing off the walls, but they're not necessarily boring. They're just very calm, like, hi, nice to meet you. How you doing? Where sounds like Nevermore would be a little more bold.
Hey.
Right. So I can see Instagram, maybe an all caps post or more especially self-expression, more of you pouring out more personal stories. Yeah. Where maybe for the church, pouring out personal stories, maybe it wouldn't fit with her tone of voice. So not that sharing personal stories on Instagram is good or bad. It's more like, does this make your brand consistent, and does it fit with that tone of voice? So
when you have these words, what do you use them for?
Sure. I know for when it comes to making visuals, some designing for us, we're on Owl Street, when we design brands and logos and color palettes and all that, I take these words and I parse it down to 3 phrases. That's what these attribute phrases are. And I use those to make visuals. So like here, earnest teaching, what does that actually look like? What colors would go with earnest teaching? Bright pink, deep blue? What kind of textures would it be? A feeling of canvas or leather? Would you have textures of grass and flowers? So what's the imagery that fits with the emotions of those words? Like earnest teaching, would you have cursive fonts? Would you have Gehrman fonts, like an old-fashioned book setting? Would you have thick, heavy sans serif fonts to feel like authoritative? So you can use from this grid and these words, you can make visuals and now have consistency in the writing of your brand and then in the visuals of the brand. Yeah.
Mind blown. This is amazing stuff. This is amazing stuff. Okay, so tell the people where to find you, because honestly, I mean, I know that I use Owl Street for all of Nevermore stuff, but I know what my limitations are. I know that I could spitball these ideas, these words to someone, but then having you on the other end to make it all make sense is a completely different ball game. So for whoever out there who's listening and saying wow, I would love to have these brainstorm sessions with Brian and figure out what this brand should sound like and look like and feel like based off of who I want it to be, or how I want it to be. Please tell them where to get started so that they can figure this out.
Yeah, well, thank you. Actually, my blush there. Thank you. That's a lot of nice things. Yeah, pretty easy. Just www.owlstreet.studio. So not .com or .org or anything like that. It's owlstreet.studio. That's our website. You see everything there. And there's links right there to schedule a appointment and a free consultation so we can talk, learn more, get to know each other, and go from there. So one stop, owlstreet.studio.
Woo, the guru, ladies and gentlemen, the guru himself.
Thanks.
This is awesome stuff. Awesome.
Well, thank you, Raven. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, boy. To write all this down and put it on the wall, and when I wake up in the morning, and on my mirror, when I start my day. Thank you, Raven. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.